You're listening to Comedy Central.
Welcome to the Jim Jefferies Show podcast. Let's get ready to talk. What? That wasn't the original take? Fucking
Jack has to do the clap for
Jack,
the video.
Jack came in and slapped it so that we could fucking edit it a bit better.
Yeah.
Well done, Jack.
Yeah.
Let's get ready to talk. Is that a good new slogan that we can use? Let's get ready to
We're
talk.
doing a different one every week, so sure.
Or how about this one? Talking. What's all that about?
I like that one.
Perfect.
Do you want to do all the intros first?
Sure. All right, yeah. I'm Forrest Shaw. Thank you for coming back to the podcast again.
Welcome, Forrest.
We have in studio with us today, or conference room, whatever you want to say, JC Currais.
JC!
He's a very funny stand-up comedian. You can follow him at JC Stand-Up on Twitter and on Instagram at JC Comedian. And JC will be doing Conan tomorrow when this airs. This will be Thursday.
You're doing Conan tomorrow.
Thursday.
He's already recorded it. He's very confident about how it turned out.
Yeah.
Now, were you doing stand-up on there, or was that some type of sex ed thing? What were you doing on there?
It was both. I did
Oh,
both.
good,
Yeah.
good. Well done, JC. How did you get Corona Premium? I've never even heard of this beverage.
They're in the fridge right here. You want one?
No, I have a Heineken sponsorship where I'm not
Oh, that's
allowed
right,
to drink
yeah.
anything else anymore. So, shh, Heineken.
I'm drinking a Heineken.
It's Dutch for Jim.
Hey, JC, make you.
So
make sure, yeah.
we did a show today, as we do every Tuesday. We had a good time.
Hold on, we
together.
got to do some stuff for
Oh, I got to plug some
Yeah,
things.
you got to promo stuff. You don't have the sheet?
What page is that on?
The second page.
Oh, okay.
You can do it usually at the beginning's better.
Hi, I'm Jim Jefferies. I have upcoming tour dates. April 13, the Windstar Casino in Thackerville, which I found out has a population of 430 people, Thackerville.
Yeah, it's this Friday.
So what town is near that?
You're going to be flying. You're doing a gig.
What town travels to Thackerville to see me?
Dallas.
Dallas. Come and see me if you're
It's
from Dallas.
Dallas is about an hour 15. So
Okay, I'm in Oklahoma. It's near Dallas.
Yeah. But but the day before that, you're going to be at the University of Florida. I don't think it's not on here to promote.
Yeah, but they're paying me a flat fee. I don't get any money for the ticket sales, so don't worry about that particular show at the University of Florida.
JC's a graduate from there.
Yeah,
he's
I
from
went to University of Florida, yeah.
It sounds like they're really turning out great people.
but you're flying. The weird thing is you're flying from Gainesville, Florida, where University of Florida is, to Gainesville, Texas.
I may be the only person ever
Yeah.
to have a private flight from Gainesville to Gainesville in the history of mankind.
Yeah, I
Tiny
don't think that's a
airports,
big
man.
route.
Probably, I assume not many people have done that.
Why would they?
No one's done that.
Why would they go to Gainesville? Gainesville, Texas is the closest town with an airport to Thackerville. That's how small Thackerville
Yeah,
is.
but maybe there was another comedian back in the day that maybe like Bob Saget had two Gainesvilles.
Who paired it up?
Who doubling it up
I don't think he paired
Quick,
up
get in the
Gainesville.
plane. You're going to Thackerville.
on the Full House tour.
Yeah.
April 13, Windstar Casino. That's already done that one. April 14th.
Which is Tommy made a good point, is the entire show we made fun of Oklahoma. Well, not what one act we did.
Mm-hmm.
And now Oklahoma, please come out and see
Yeah,
them.
come and see me. But we did make fun of you in Oklahoma. We're going to talk about that later. But I assume that you're not educated enough to understand what we said. So come and see me anyway. April 14th, Paramount Theater in Austin, Texas. April 27th, Rialto Square Theater in Jolie, Illinois.
Joliet. Every week it's Joliet.
Jolie,
Every week, same
Jolie,
name.
please don't take my stand-up away. April 28th, Overture Hall in Madison, Wisconsin. And then I'll be at the Clusterfest Comedy and Music Festival June 1st to June 3rd in San Francisco. Actually, that's how long the festival lasts. I'm only doing one show. I don't know which day, but I'll be there. So come and see me. Get tickets at jimjeffries.com or on StubHub or some other site that rips you off.
And real quick, if there's any topics you want us to talk about, you can tweet us at Jefferies Show.
And follow T5 Transit. I popped
Follow
that in.
at T5 Transit for sure. At Jeffrey Show, at T5 Transit. Please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, you can email us at Jeffrey Show. What's the email? What? Jeffrey Show
Kelly,
Podcast
Kelly,
at gmail.com. Somebody
what is
emailed
it?
us.
Jeffrey Show Podcast.
Jeffrey Show Podcast
So,
at gmail.com.
as with all episodes, we have to check in with Jack. Can you hack it? Hack it. How are you doing, Jack?
Yeah, why are you way back there when you know you're going to
Come on, prance up here.
I'm doing great.
You're doing great. Now, last week I was a little mean to you, and your mum called you. What did she say this week?
She said, "Oh man, wait, I want to get it right.
What did you say to him last week? You
Why
said
were you
you
mean
said
to
your
him?
mom.
I teased him about something. It would have been his looks or personality. Or
something in there.
Doesn't sound like you at all.
Something in between there. I said something mean about Jack, and then Jack said something lame, and then I laughed at him and I think I threw a pie at you.
So what'd your mom say?
My mom, I texted her. I went, I get made fun of a lot on the podcast this week, and she
Okay.
goes, par for the course. You make the podcast great. That's why people listen. Duh. Can you hack it? Yes, I can.
That's what his mother said. That's what his
Your
mother
mom said, "Can you hack it?"
Now,
That's
now
your catchphrase.
I want to show hacks.
Hacks a lot.
Jack is a product of positive reinforcement, right? It doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. It never works out. You've been loved too much, Jack. You haven't gone to the school of hard knocks. You've been to the school of many hugs, and that's not going to make you a man.
I thought
I'm your real dad.
What? I thought there was another text, something about hugging you, or you said because
Something else nice.
Hugging you is easy
was
because
it.
you're
There's so many positive texts
Jack
in here.
Hackett.
Well, I can't remember if we said it last week, but it was the week before when you said, I have no confidence. And she
Try
goes,
to
"You do."
speak in the microphone confidently, please. Try to be clear while you do this, Jack. Fucking hell. Stop being so sheepish.
My mom goes, you do have confidence, and you are handsome.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Jim.
Hey, have you got any brothers?
I have one brother.
Is he better looking than you?
People say so.
Is one of those people your mother?
Could be. All my friends say he looks older than you, and he looks much better than
You
you.
don't want to look older. You don't want to look older.
Good friends.
No, you want to stay looking young as long as possible
That's
in this
true.
world. You don't want to look older. Let him, fuck him. How old is your brother?
He's 19.
19. And what's his name?
Sean.
Yeah, no, sure. Jack's a better name.
Sean Hackett
For sure.
Yeah,
Doesn't
no
have a
way.
good- doesn't-
There's
doesn't
never
off the tongue.
been an executive called Sean Hackett. Jack Hackett runs a company. Jack Hackett gets shit done. Jack Hackett's a guy with a big dick who would help you move something, but you can't walk over him.
Just
He's a
not
good
this
guy.
Jack- not
he
this
can
Jack
probably
Hackett. Another
he can
Jack
probably
Hackett,
fix
though.
things. Jack Hackett fingers you properly. Sean Hackett just flubs around with his palm.
Right. Sean's the person you call and you're like, oh, fuck, I got Sean.
Yeah,
I'll call
yeah,
back
yeah.
and try and get Jack.
Yeah, and like no girl ever goes, I got fucked real good by Sean Hackett. Right? But people will say, I got a good dickin' by Jack Hackett. You can promise, I promise you that, my friend. I promise you that.
It rolls right off the tongue.
I don't know. When was that?
When was what? When?
That somebody said that.
No, it's in the future.
Oh, future. All right.
This is in the
You're like
future.
you're the
Posturing, right?
Dippin' Dots of
Figuring it out.
humans.
I think this was a scene in Ready Player One. I haven't seen the movie yet.
No, Jack is the Dippin' Dots of humans. He's the ice cream of the future.
He's the good fingering of the future.
Yeah.
Today. All right, so that was good, Jack. Get off the microphone. You're upsetting people.
We did get an email. We got an email because we read his email last time. Grant B, who first of all likes to repeat our show back to us. Hey, this is what happened on your show this week. We know. We actually did a show and a podcast about the show. Thanks, Grant. We appreciate it. But he did write a theme song for us. Do you want to hear the lyrics?
Sure.
It's pretty good.
It needs a tune to go along with it. You can't just be a lyricist.
Jim and you want me to sing it or just read it?
Oh, please sing it for
Please
us.
sing it. Yeah.
Okay. Jim and Forrest and a random name. That's you, JC.
Hey, that's me.
Back for laughs about a world gone insane. We'll explain the show and talk some shit. So sit back, relax, and get into it. Welcome
All
to the
right,
Jim Jefferies Show podcast.
I like that song,
Yeah.
but the last lyric should be changed to "and pull out your dick."
So sit back, relax, and pull out your dick.
Pull out your
What
dick.
about for our female listeners?
We'll do what you can,
That doesn't rhyme. So,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
you know. And then, or if
try
you're
your
a
best.
female and you like to hunt, there's something you should do with your great big. You know, you see,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
See how I've made that song work for females as well.
That's right there.
totally
This
seamless.
is why I got
female
me own-
and likes to hunt. That makes so much sense.
See, the joke was you pull out your great big cunt, but you made me spell it out. Now I feel terrible about myself.
No, I knew what you were saying.
So we have a TV show as well as a podcast. Many of you may not know that, especially viewers in Britain, where our show was taken off the air.
Enjoy the podcast.
The first
off the
thing,
air.
this is a long story. They're very dumb.
Fair.
Anyway, we're number one in Canada. That's
There it
all I
is.
know. We're number one in
I
Canada.
was watching those promos, man.
So,
I know that's what it is.
Oh, we should start with that. I had to do promos today just for Canadian TV, and the Canadians sent me the promos to read, and they didn't make sense. They were just like this, hey, you know when you're nice to people, that's awesome, or something. It was
Well,
really...
it's like stay away from America.
Yeah. One promo was, hey, Canada, keep a safe distance from America. Watch me 10:30s on Tuesday on comedy. Their channel's called Comedy.
Yeah.
That also
I
threw
thought they
me
were
off.
reading it wrong, and then you kept. I was
Right.
like, "No, they're not
No,
making you
it's
read this
on
over."
comedy.
No.
Comedy.
Channels in Canada do what they say on the tin. There's comedy.
That's
There's
it.
another channel called Action.
Drama.
Yeah, drama. And then there's just a channel that shows This Is Us that's called Cry.
Tim Hortons channel too.
The Tim Hortons reasonably priced coffee
And
channel.
I've missed saying these the last few weeks, but our opening credits always change from week to week depending on like what stories are in the news or something that's happened. And if you look for them and you can figure it out, there's little Easter eggs in there.
There was
But,
Scott Pruitt in a burning bush. That was
yeah,
a good one.
It was Scott. It was actually. Whoa, what is that one? The first one was police line do not cross over Cohen, Trump's attorney that got raided yesterday by the Mike Cohen by the.
Ooh, Jim Jefferies show, not holding back punches.
And then
Laying it down like it is, people.
And then we had basically a witch burning, and then the FBI slid into that. So the witch hunt, because that's what Trump calls it.
Oh, yeah.
So
the
there
haymakers.
you go. We'll never do the segment again.
There
then.
was the
That's it.
burning. No. I like that. I didn't know the show was so topical. Anyway, so our first subject this week was teachers. And they're going on strike in Oklahoma and Kentucky and I think Arizona and other.
They were
other
in
states.
West Virginia, so I mean, it's a growing trend nationally.
What happens is occasionally the teachers decide they're not getting paid enough, and the reason for that is they're not getting paid enough. But it's very hard to feel for them because they have their 16 weeks of holidays and they finish work at 2. But still, $50,000 a year to fucking teach people and be at risk of being shot.
And dealing with the fucking kids, man. That's the
Dealing
thing.
with
That's
kids who might shoot that you're not allowed to hit. You're not allowed to hit them.
You can't hit them.
You're not allowed to hit 'em.
Not allowed.
If I knew that when I was going to school that they can't hit you, I wouldn't have shut the fuck up when they told me to.
You could actually get away with more back in the day. They had like
sure.
they had the paddling. You know,
We had a paddle that had holes in it. Holes in it. Teacher named Mr. would hit you with it. And it had holes in it so it could get more swing through the air like a tennis racket.
Yeah.
So there was no resistance as it whacked you. That was how the Australian school system happened.
No, they had that here too.
straightened you up pretty good.
We had a teacher named. I had a teacher, and
Can you imagine what a cunt I would have been without that paddle?
I had a first grade teacher, and she'd pinch you. She was a big woman. She couldn't move very well, so she'd call
She
you.
did that years after you finished school. Forrest just stayed in contact.
No, but this was when I was like in
Checks in every
elementary
once in a
school,
while.
and she would make you come to the desk like, get up here, get up, and then you would like have to go up there or run away, whatever, and then she would just pinch the shit out of you if you did something wrong, and it was like that was, I guess, legal. I don't know. You were allowed to do it. but-
While we're on this, why is it always when a female blows a 16-year-old boy, she's always hot? Why is it? Why is that? I'm not condoning pedophilia, but it feels like
I mean-
there hasn't been a crime committed there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You're like, I'm not condoning. And then you just hard-lined condone the shit out of
This is a comedy show. It's not meant to be taken seriously. So anyway, we talked about school teachers. They wanted to raise, and when we were in the writers' room, we were talking about this. Now I have to a little admission. My mother's a school teacher. She was a school teacher at my school, so I have issues with school teachers. So all of her friends were also school teachers who taught at my school. And I didn't have a great time at school. I didn't really enjoy it. I wasn't what you'd call smart or literate. And so when I went to school, it was a very hard time for me. So I do balk a little bit when they talk about these teachers being great people, because my experience with teachers as a child was not always positive. Now, of course, there were some teachers who were great, and they were very they took you under their wing and really helped you out a bit. And there was that hot girl teacher at school who blew me. That was a nice day.
That's always the positive. Did she also take you under the wing?
Yeah, she took me under her wing. It was more of they call them bingo wings, that flap of skin.
Bingo wings?
Bingo wings. Okay, so when fat women, it can be men as well. So when you've got that loose bit of skin that flaps underneath, in Britain you call it bingo wings because they always hold the car up and go, bingo! And it flaps around. So they're called bingo wings if you got that loose skin underneath your bicep there.
Yeah, a lot of teachers do have that.
If you want to call it a bicep. But there's a lot of bingo winged teachers out there. And of course, this bit of the script didn't get into the show because we have writers who say, don't say that about women's bingo wings. Anyway, or men's. I'm universal about the bingo wings. Transvestites, you can have them too. We've all got them. Let's live our lives. I'm not mocking or judging, but you could do some exercise. Anyway, so what happened? How did we go from this town? Anyway, so what happened was we wanted to write a piece about the teacher strike.
And people have been talking about this.
I fully agree. I 100% agree that teachers deserve more money because it is a shitty job and all that type of stuff. And what's the use of having 16 weeks holiday if you can't afford to go anywhere? Am I right? Anyway, so we were writing this piece, and then everyone in the office was, we're a fairly left show, and I'm less left than most on the show. But I'm not a right-wing sort of guy. But I was of the opinion, I think they should get more money. But I didn't want to do a piece where I just said what wonderful people they are.
Yeah.
So I took a shot at a teacher that I went to school with who used to say that I wasn't funny. We called him up on an imaginary phone. Now, it wasn't an imaginary phone.
Actually, it wasn't his name. We changed his name.
Yeah, it was Mr. The real guy. Anyway, so
we'll cut that out.
You can bleep that out. You can bleep that out. You can bleep that out. Bleep it out. But anyway,
Are we allowed to bleep?
Anyway, his name was. Anyway, so there's a few.
What was it?
Anyway,
are you saying?
You're going to have to bleep a lot of bleeps.
Okay.
If we do this long enough, we're going to spell the word cunt in Morse code. Anyway,
just fill it in with bingo wing every time.
So the teacher's name was Ralph.
Anyway, so there was a teacher, let's call him for the sake of the podcast. and he always gave me a hard time. And he actually went out, this story actually goes back a little bit because he went out of his way to sort of torture me a little bit and tell me that I wasn't funny in school and to shut up and blah, blah, blah. And and he really went after me. He used to pick on me a lot. Anyway, years passed, and you don't know this story, right?
No.
Years passed, and I'd become a full-time comedian living in Britain, and I went back to Australia to visit my parents, and my mother asked me to pick her up from school because there was something wrong with the car or something, and I drove her to the school. I knew she was in the same office as this teacher, right? And I thought, I'm going to stand out the front of his office.
Let him know.
And when he fucking comes out, I'm going to tell him I'm a professional comedian. And he came out and he looked at me and he went, oh, hello, Jim, how are you? Well, it's great. He was so nice. He was so nice, but I was still fired up. And he goes, what are you doing with your life? And I go, I'm a professional comedian. And he goes, good for you. Your mother told me about that. Congratulations. I'm so happy with you. And then he walked away and I was like, yeah, that fucking, that showed him. So anyway, we took a dig at that cunt, and we acted like I called him and that he had died of cancer.
How old were you when that happened? I don't even know that story, though.
Oh, I was about 25 when I did that.
That's hilarious.
That fucking takedown of Mr. You got to keep moving.
It is weird when the person's face to face with you, unless they're like a complete asshole. Then he was nice. You're just like,
yeah, he was just a teacher. Look, in his defense, I was disrupting the class.
Yeah.
I probably was a pain in the ass, and he was just telling me to shut up. But in my childlike brain, I thought that I was fucking fighting the good fight here. But it turns out I fucking wasn't.
Yeah, he's also right 99.9999% of the time. Because
I should mention he molested me.
There it is. Now we're cutting into the bingo.
No,
wing.
make sure you cut his name out. He didn't molest me because I would have
bleep
noticed
it.
because that bingo wing would have flapped
We
into
got
my
to keep
face.
the story in there. We'll bleep it.
Anyway, yeah, you're going to bleep it. You're bleeping his name.
Bingo.
Anyway,
Bingo wing.
But that was a good angle, I thought, because a lot of, like you said, a lot of people have talked about the teacher strike, and everyone always says, like, even at comedy clubs, you're a teacher, and everyone's like, yay! Everyone always claps for him. And it's like anything. There's good teachers and bad teachers. There's good of every profession.
there's good comedians, bad comedians. There's good teachers. There's good cops. There's bad cops.
It's a running theme on our show. We talk about that a lot. There's good and bad of each side, so you can't just like lump everybody together.
Yeah, so it's sometimes you can sound like a bleeding heart by just going, teachers work so hard, and but we didn't do that. We stood up for their right to get more money, and they definitely deserve more resources. That's without a doubt.
Yeah.
They need,
Yeah, the
we
pictures
talked
and
about
stuff.
how there was textbooks in Oklahoma where 9/11 hadn't happened. Yeah,
Did that get? So I don't even know what the
they
end result
were
of that.
printed in 2010.
But no, with a joke. the
But,
joke-
but Oklahoma was still so excited about their bombing they don't want to be overshot.
No, but that was a joke that I don't even know. I don't know if do we have to take that whole joke out, Scott? The 9/11 joke. No, we just have to
still
change
in?
it.
Okay, so we
leave it
yeah, okay, so we got in trouble for a certain reason, but that was otherwise.
We're not in trouble. No, we're keeping it.
But
in.
anyway,
It's way
that
funnier
was
with it.
that was a fun piece. Did you enjoy that, JC?
Yeah,
you
I
enjoy
did.
that piece? That was a good piece. It was a good piece. Good piece.
I also
Yeah.
really enjoyed you working with the telephone prop. That was my
Oh, mate.
That's what-
A lot of people say Jim Jefferies isn't a prop comic.
man. The space
And-
work alone.
And you know what I think of those people? I just hit that with a bottle.
Fuck 'em.
Anyway,
I don't think anyone has ever said that. By the way,
Well-
not a prop comic.
well,
You should become a prop comic. You need a nap. Remember, you said you're out of jokes now after this special.
stop clipping my bingo wings when I want to fly.
Will you please? Okay, I know that like now the special comes out. I'm not sure exactly when it comes out, but you're gonna have a new special on Netflix sometime this year.
June, I think.
June. Okay. So after that, like you always tell people, once that's out, you're not going to do those jokes anymore, and you have to do jokes and with the show and traveling and everything. That
Sure.
you've had. So I feel like, can you please be a prop comic for the next?
I'm already planning that. The thing is, Forrest, you are no longer my support act. We are now a ventriloquist.
That phone
I just
better
sit on your
make
knee.
You better bring that phone with you because that phone it's there.
It's going to be called the leg crushing tour.
Yeah. I have to sit in a separate chair. It'll be ventriloquist, but I'm sitting in a separate chair, and you're just barely touching. You just pat me on the
Barely
back.
touching.
You just pat me on the back.
Yeah, he still talks while I vomit from alcohol poisoning. That's something that no other ventriloquist actor has
It's
ever
a good
done.
act. I think you do that. Then you get of your trunk. You pull out a few few different things like a.
Hey, sorry. So we have some people in the room with us right now. So it's Kelly and Ben, right, who are friends with Tommy Caprio. You might know Tommy Caprio from doing some Italian thing, or probably saying "Mamma Mia" and then talking about soccer or whatnot, as the Italians do.
He's friends with Jimmy Prosciutto.
Yeah, hey, stop busting Tommy's balls. Hey, he's sitting there. He's sitting. Anyway.
What happened?
No, hey, come on the microphone.
I don't
Caprio.
know if that's safe to give out your Twitter handle there.
All right, we're thinking of having a segment on the show called Tommy's Tweets because Tommy loses his shit occasionally on Twitter and just tells people to fuck off. It's very entertaining.
Yeah,
we
well-
don't want to stifle it in any way.
What's your handle, Tommy?
At Tommy Caprio. TOMMYCAPRIO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. No, that's.
And so
Chewing gum and-
Tommy's down the microphone. Tommy's chewing gum because hey,
Hey, I can chew gum if I want.
Hey, I come from Jersey to be. All right, so Tommy brought some people in with him. Friends in the audience. Friends, yeah. Tommy, where are you going? Come back.
That was it. He just came to plug his
Come
Twitter.
back.
He's
Come
out.
back.
Just wanted to
Come back.
for a
He's on that
second.
Twitter.
I'm done with you guys. That's all I need out of you.
Okay, so Tommy, you've heard all the things we've said on the podcast. You brought a 14-year-old to watch the podcast with us this evening.
And the show.
Now it's my fault.
And he's in the corner. There's a 14. I've said teachers are cunts and all this type of things, and I've condoned horrible things. Have we mentioned our drug taking, JC?
No, we haven't
Me and
mentioned our drug
JC
taking.
take drugs
That's
together.
we do take
So- Now,
Let's clarify this. I invited a friend here, a young woman named Kelly, and she brought her nephew.
I thought it was the other way. I thought you brought a 14-year-old boy who brought her auntie. Oh, right.
I'm coming over like Jerry Sandusky.
Right.
I feel like Jerry Sandusky, the guy who was like,
from the
must have
movie
said-
Patern No Way. Anyway, so I need to ask young Ben, who's the top comic in your age group, 14? Who is the comedian that all the young kids...
Are you going to come up to the mic?
Yeah, come up to the mic, Ben. Come up to the mic. Come
Don't
over
get too
here.
close to Tommy.
Come over here. Yeah, sit on Tommy's lap and ask what you want for Christmas. Anyway, so here we are. So who's your top comics, Ben? Who's the hot guy in comedy right now? You don't have to say me. Besides me.
Well, my friend really likes Kevin Hart.
All right, yeah. Kevin Hart's very popular. Yeah,
Just the one friend.
Yeah. Kevin.
And then Gabriel Iglesias.
Oh, Gabriel's my buddy. You know who Gabriel's favourite comedian is?
Who?
Jim fucking Jefferies. Gabriel comes fucked up to my shows. He'll even admit this. Gabriel shows up. He shows up in a limo and his nights off to my fucking shows smashed out of his fucking trolley.
That's true. When I first moved here, I did shows with Jim. I think I said at the Irvine Improv, and they're all sold out, and they had like a booth in the back corner. And I remember walking to you and I go, "There's a guy that looks like Gabriel Iglesias in the back booth."
There's a huge
Gabriel Iglesias.
There's a
I'm like,
huge booth, and Gabriel just squeezed into it.
Yeah, but he was there with his whole crew to watch you. I don't even know if he lived in Irvine. He just went to go.
I got to give big ups to Gabriel. He's always been very nice to me. He said very complimentary thing. I don't know Kevin. I'm not in that world. That wasn't a black thing. That was just I don't know. I'm in a movie star thing. Black people like me.
Yeah.
I have ones of black friends.
You're just
anyway,
not in that
so
Dwayne The Rock Johnson world.
yeah. I'm not in the Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I know Rhys Darby. He was in Jumanji, so I feel like I'm one separation away from
close.
Kevin. All right, so Gabriel Iglesias and Kevin Hart. Okay, so you mentioned people older than me. Am I not down with the kids?
Did you know Jim before today?
No, I did not.
Ah, for fuck's sake, Ben.
Oh, fuck.
Ben, you bring your hot ass auntie here and then you fucking chat like that to us? What's happened to you?
Oh, no, Ben.
Are you a fan of Jim's now?
Yes.
Thank you.
Good answer.
Ben, everyone. Ben. All right.
A lot of words.
Sorry for calling your auntie hot ass.
Well, you just cursed at Ben, too. That was...
I also cursed Ben.
Yeah, Ben, when she showers, just accidentally walk in. Anyway, so...
Oh, boy. And we're back. Act 2.
I'm not a good
Noel
person.
Gallagher.
You can't deny I am funny. I am very
Noel
funny.
Gallagher, Act 2.
So Act 2. Act 2.
Forrest is you're just here to rain everything.
Yeah. I'm glad Scott wasn't there for this. That's
nothing.
That's
Don't worry
good.
about
Scott's come back in. Our erections can go down. Anyway. So what's happening? Act 2.
You got to meet somebody.
What happens is, I'll tell you what happens in this show. We have Andrew Wontok, who you know Andrew Wontok, right? He books all the guests. Andrew, I call the Angel of Darkness. He
does a lot of stuff.
He comes into, and he does field pieces. He works super hard. Andrew always comes in my office, and he has like a list of people. And he's like this. He's like, you can interview this person, that person. And I'm like this. Yes, no, yes, no. And sometimes they're like magical names. Like today he said to me, Tom Cruise is doing press. Yeah, he said to me, Tom Cruise is doing press. And I'm like,
Of course we want Tom
Of
Cruise.
course I'll have Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Of course I have Tom Cruise. I like feeling tall. Anyway, so
crazy.
So they say all these different fucking things and all that sort of stuff. And then he was going through a whole list of people. And then he got down to one where he just like said this, like, of course I was going to say no. And he went, oh, do you know Noel Gallagher from Oasis? And I'm the biggest Oasis fan in the world. I've seen Oasis live like 11 times. I've seen High Flying Birds live twice. I've seen Liam Gallagher
They're
twice.
obsessed with him.
I've seen
Obsessed with
Beady Eye, which was Liam's other band. I'm obsessed with Oasis. 20% of all music I listen to is Oasis. So I was like, fuck yeah. And then normally they go, what would the angle be? Because we're a news show. Normally someone has to have a charity or a reason to be on the show. And they go, what would the angle be? I go, because I love him. Right? Yeah. And
why else have a fucking show?
So there was no other point. Oh God, we're making the Arnie sign a release form for a nephew after I saw those things. Oh my God, I'm watching that. I'm so sorry. That's an anti-Me Too contract. I have like a pile of them in my office. Anyway, so. This is a good podcast. Anyway, so we said yes, we'll have Noel Gallagher, and so they said Noel Gallagher agrees to be on the show. So we went to a bar. He was doing Kimmel. And the only reason he did the show is because he was doing Kimmel. That night. Give me one of those special beers.
One?
No, one of the ones that JC's drinking. I want to toast them.
I thought you had to drink.
Yeah, but shh, we don't film this bit. Just blur it out like it's a fucking
It's
victim.
being recorded, and you're saying it. So.
He's having one of those special Heineken beers.
I'll keep it down here like that.
Ooh.
And then I'll drink it like this.
Keep the Heineken up.
The Heineken's up front.
Anyway, so what happened was I got to interview who I consider to be in the top 5 songwriters of all time, Noel Gallagher.
Absolutely.
Noel Gallagher, man, like that guy wrote.
It was really funny.
And
Holy
then the
shit.
people were like, oh, what should be? I go, the guy has never done a bad interview. I've seen so many interviews. He's always funny. He said one request was we couldn't ask him about his brother. Now he says a quote about his brother, which is my favorite quote. If you know who Liam Gallagher is, he's a bit of a mad guy and he's a little dumb, but he's a great front man. He's got charisma and stuff like that. But he always seems like angry.
Yeah.
And he was once asked about his brother, and he goes, my brother is like a man who lives in a world of soup, and he's holding a fork. Right? And that's like one of the most apt sort of, how frustrated would you be walking around in a world of soup holding a fork? And so I think, and I follow Noel Gallagher quotes on Twitter, not even his webpage, just people who quote him. And
Is that a Twitter handle?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I was just like, yeah, man, we got to fucking talk to Noel Gallagher. And we sat there. I had a couple of beers before we did it because I was a little nervous, and we chatted to Noel Gallagher for about an hour and a half. I don't know if he likes me or not, right?
Seemed like
He likes you.
But you know what? I feel like a fucking schoolgirl. Every time I made him laugh, I was like, Noel's laughing. And like I'm doing that Jimmy Fallon over laughing thing. Like every time he made a joke, I over laughed. Like
I'll tell you what, though, is like, because I like Oasis. I mean, I'm not into them as much as you are, but I do like them, and I've always liked them. But it does really it made me actually like his brother more, too, like appreciate his brother more, too, because, like, it's like, obviously, he's really funny, Noel, and he's wrote all the songs, so he's amazingly talented. Right. But you would even admit that Liam's a better frontman.
Liam's a better frontman. Liam's concerts are a little. There's something about that guy. I've met him at a party, and when he walks into a room, Liam Gallagher has. I've never seen an aura around him like a real rock star, like a real. And he fucking talks, he's fucking always a little bit, like that. But like Noel's funny and
but he's more
eloquent.
Talented. Noel's more talented.
But Noel's still got it as well. He just doesn't quite have it.
No, but I'm not saying he
the
doesn't have, but he wrote all the songs. He's clearly a good interview. He's funny.
He's a better consistent singer than his brother.
But you have to give credit to people when they have like some extra little thing. That's it, and that's like kind of what makes it.
And that's why the podcast's called the Jim Jefferies Show and not the Forest Shore Show.
I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. But thanks for pointing out the obvious.
And it's also because you're so rude to 14-year-old boys. Why would you do something?
Yeah,
that was a fun.
That story that he tells.
Maroon 5 one.
Maroon 5.
Yeah, I actually. I'll inside story. If you listen to the podcast, I already knew that story. I asked him to tell it. I asked him to tell
really?
it.
Okay.
Nice.
But even when he told it, his face is so funny when he goes, oh, this is my house. And he goes, oh, it's a nice house. When he looks up, it's like super funny. Like
The timing was there.
Yeah, he's
super.
very funny. The bit where he goes, fucking idiots. Now, we had a thing, you should probably talk about this, from Standards and Practices.
Oh, yeah. We tweeted it out yesterday. If you're not following the Jim Jefferies Show podcast, go to @Jeffries Show.
Look, I'm drinking a Heineken.
But to promote
Delicious Heineken beer.
to promote the show, we got a really funny email. I was actually Jason Reish, our head writer, he got it first, and he goes, "This is the funniest email I've ever gotten, or my most favorite email."
Which is hurtful because I send him several emails a day.
And it just says, "Hi everyone, here are the notes. Please bleep the following." And it's different time marks, like 39 seconds to us. It's like 39 seconds, cunt. 207, fuck. 226, fuck. 250, fuck twice. 3 minutes, fuck. 307, fuck twice. 316, fuck.
And then he said my
fuck.
teacher's name. Bleep that again.
All the way to at 550, fuck cunt, and 558, fuck cunt, which I believe was an impression of you he was doing. So, and yeah,
because he did that whole. He goes, "I've seen you pissed on the television," which we got to say for American people, pissed means drunk, not angry. Yeah. So you might have missed that because people always say like this, go, "Oh, he was pissed." Yeah. And I never understand it when people say it to me. Oh, God, fucking, my boss is pissed. What is he?
Is he shit-faced?
Yeah, well, let him go home then. I'm always like, why are you bothering the guy?
Like
just let him have a nap if he's so pissed right now.
Yeah,
What's the big problem?
That works. That works either way. If you're pissed, you should take a nap. Either way, American.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. So he said, "I've seen you pissed on the television," and I thought that was all right. You know, fucking this, fucking cunt this, fucking smoking and drinking. That was like, you're like the dressing room from Oasis in the 90s, which is the greatest compliment I've ever had.
Yeah, you can see your face light up when he said that.
Often people say things like, "You're going to die soon. If you keep going down this path, it won't end well. Your son will be orphaned." Hurtful things.
That was also things that they said in the Oasis dressing room, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah,
so
that's
a parallel.
The Oasis dressing room were constantly talking about me. So that was maybe a little bit self-indulgent in me to have Noel Gallagher on as a guest, but I don't regret it in the fucking slightest. And
it's a good piece.
And look,
absolutely.
I would give up this show just to be the Noel Gallagher show, and I could watch in the audience. I don't give a fuck. Now, the second thing we did. The third thing we did.
It's right there. It says 3.
Oh, shut up, Forrest. You know what's wrong with you?
That's a 3, though. I'm pretty sure.
You know what's wrong with you, Forrest? You're hurtful.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
People are trying to get on with their lives, and you just say hurtful things.
I mean, it's a 3. It's definitely a 3, though, right? It's on your paper as a 3?
All right. I can't count. You've been to college. You're more fancy than me.
I know what you're going to say next.
What?
But I have a show.
No. I was going to call you fat. Anyway,
it's interchangeable. He's still got you. He's shucking jiving.
The funny thing is, if you look at us, we're like a cartoon character of someone getting thinner and fatter again. if you rotate through us,
for those of you who don't know who I am very fat.
We look like before and after photos of either someone who's lost weight or gotten AIDS. Anyway,
JC's when it's healthy and Jim's you're actually dressed for the coffin, Jim.
Yeah, right before you die from AIDS, you'll look like me.
Hair's gonna turn black.
Your hair will go straight.
Accent changes.
There it is.
The AIDS is hurting me.
I just make me.
You become very party. Who are AIDS?
All right.
If we're not the funniest podcast in the world, then I'm not drunk. Anyway, so Act 3, the EPA.
I was happy you did this because this guy's been a piece of shit since the beginning. Since Trump, of all the people Trump hired in his cabinet, he's not official cabinet, but Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA, is just he's done. He sued the EPA. He had 14 lawsuits against the EPA when he was Attorney General of Oklahoma. He still has, I believe, they're still out there. There's 2 lawsuits against the EPA to kind of dissolve the EPA. And now he's the head of it. It's
still
insane.
on his old webpage. He says something about hating the EPA.
Yeah, they have.
Like he hasn't changed it.
It's on his LinkedIn.
He hasn't changed it. The head of the EPA still has a website where he's like, "Fuck the EPA."
It was on. That was from the. I think it was Daily Show or
that's like when I used to have a TV show on FX and I had a webpage that just said "Fuck Comedy Central." I still haven't taken it down.
Still there.
I should get on to that.
It's insanity.
It's time.
He hates the organization he's running. He's just running it to the ground.
I know it's time, not the Time's Up movement.
No, yeah.
So he's been in the news a lot because
Giving me more credit than I deserve.
He's been in the news a lot because there's some ethical.
Hey, I've never
problems
asked. Is
made.
JC short for Jesus Christ?
It's not.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
of course
Had
it's
to check.
Jesus
Christ.
Had to check. Carry
I'm
on.
back, everybody.
He's been.
I'm back. It's just after Easter. Do you know how good that joke was? Was that by accident?
I don't know.
No, I think he was saying that we're back.
No, JC's
No,
a big
I'm
guy.
back.
If
I am a big
if
We
he
over-explained that joke.
if
then,
he
so,
was
yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Impossible to
Easter
crucify.
wouldn't. Yeah, he would have fallen off that cross.
Impossible to
There's no
crucify.
nails that's holding this JC up on the cross.
My limbs are giving out. The cross is giving out. Something's happening.
Yeah, like back in those days, they never seen a man of your size. The Romans would have held you up as some type of god. You would have actually been God, not like that phony Jesus. Anyways, we've gone on a tangent. So the planet's fucked. There's a lot of problems with the
Well,
environment.
no, but I think the interesting thing about this piece was the other people did stories about the EPA this week because he's been in the news because he was staying at like this luxury condominium for
yeah,
$50
but
a
the
night.
other people have been doing news
No.
stories about this whole thing that he says is luxury condo. He pays $50 a day, and it's from someone who is
They're an energy lobbyist. One of the owners is an energy lobbyist, the wife of an energy lobbyist.
Yeah, I know, like
that he's done deals with in Oklahoma.
because I know because we have to watch the other shows. John Oliver did a
Yeah.
piece on this, and he did a whole thing about Airbnb something for $50 a day.
The angle that we took that was interesting. I just want to make this clear is we talked about the fact that he's a very religious man. He's an evangelical Christian from a Southern Baptist church in Oklahoma, and this is a quote of his. So we didn't get to all of it, but one of his quote. This is a quote he said from a political article. There aren't sufficient scientific facts to establish a theory of evolution, and it deals with the origins of man, which is more from a philosophical standpoint than a scientific standpoint. So he doesn't believe in evolution, and that's basically one of the cornerstones of biological theory. And he's running an organization that is a science-based organization, EPA, and we touched on our piece. He basically thinks that everything was put here. God says that everything was put here for us to use and use up and take from the earth, and it's like that's insane that the person is trying to
and then he said something about global warming, like the humans flourish.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It could be a good thing. We don't know yet because
it's a bit warmer. We're feeling good.
Yeah, and then he goes. This is what he says. He goes, a biblical worldview with respect to these issues that we have a responsibility to harvest the natural resources that we've been blessed with to truly bless our fellow
Of
mankind.
course, humans don't flourish in warmer temperature. There's a reason that certain people were living in hotter countries. I'm meant to have been born in England. Right. You look at my skin. I'm meant to because I grew up in fucking Australia. And every day when I wanted to play, I had to wear sunscreen because I burnt the fuck out of my fucking skin. Right? We don't flourish in extra heat. He said that we enjoy the warm. It makes everything a bit better.
Look, I understand that people are allowed to have the religious views.
No, they're
faith,
not.
But when you're the head of... Okay.
No, they're not.
I was trying to get out of the middle of
Look.
It was
If you're listening to this podcast and you are religious, please know that you're wrong and you've wasted a substantial amount of your life, you fucking idiot. If you think that there's some man on a cloud that takes care of you and that's overlooking your life, you dumb cunt. Anyway, carry on, Forrest.
I totally agree with what you said, and, that's why I let you say it. It's your
My
podcast.
teacher's name was Mr.
Was he religious? Yeah.
Probably, I don't know. So anyway, so we ripped into him, and then we had a lovely little bit at the end, which we normally don't do in the set pieces, Act 1 and Act 3. This is more of an Act 4 thing we normally do, but we brought in a character, the pastor of Scott Pruitt, Roy Sheboygan. Now, Roy
Sheboygan.
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's not a real thing. So what happens is we bring in the pastor, and now whenever we do this, we always go, what actor can we get? And a few names were sort of kicked around. We could use Rob Riggle or David Koechner or something like that. Now, I always go back to one of my best friends in the world. My co-star in the mildly popular sitcom Legit, Dan Bacadel. Now, me personally, Dan Bacadel is one of the funniest human beings that has ever lived on this fucking planet. Now, we write these sketches and we have another writer or someone else read the other part, and it's always funny. We're all laughing. This part's really funny, but when
he wrote it too. Lucas wrote that part.
Lucas wrote it. Lucas Kapner wrote it. But then when Dan comes in, man, that guy he should have his own fucking TV show because he does it in one take. Now, I don't know if you know, when you see me on the screen and you're looking at that going, wow, that guy looks like he's retarded and he's not getting those words right. Understand that it's my 10th take.
Not today. Today you crushed it.
Yeah, you were.
Today I did.
You did well, man. You did really well today.
I liked again, like just as an audience member. I mean, when you messed up, it was fucking hilarious. Like,
Yeah,
it was great.
it's good to watch people fail.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really did.
Now you did. You had a good read today. Everything was good.
It's the same reason that people slow by and down next to car accidents.
Now, but
You want to see what's... Is that a mangulated body? I'm glad I've been in this traffic jam for 40 minutes. It's all been worth it.
but he always crushes it like first take.
He crushes it.
You guys only did one take, right?
And yeah, we did it in one take.
So you did well in the take too.
Me and Bacadol have a very good rapport with each other.
Yep.
So look, you may be seeing him playing several characters because if I had my way, he would do everything, including playing me.
And as an Easter egg too, at the very end, he's kind of like you're talking over each other, and he goes, "I also have a coffee company because he
was the guy who owned MAGA Brews, the coffee company, the Republican MAGA.
Not the same, not Ron Sheboygan, but it's like the same actor.
Yeah, like a different character.
You could tell it was a different person because Dan was wearing a wig in this one. Because our budget is fucking amazing.
We got wig money. Yeah,
good wig money. I saw
Bingo
that
wig.
I want to talk about this. At the end of the first piece, when we were talking about teachers, I actually wrote a joke that used a bit of my musical theatre background.
Yeah.
Right? Where I sang the ending of Oklahoma. Now, if people write in and say that you got the words wrong, I had to do that so we didn't have to pay for the song from Oklahoma. I fucked that up on purpose. But
so don't write and fuck you for listening.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a great piece. Dan nailed it as always.
Yeah.
To wrap up, now this is a story that actually happened about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago that we were talking about mentioning, and some of the writers didn't want to do it because they didn't know what it was all about, but I think it turned out all right. The biggest news story in Australia and in a lot of the world at the moment is that the Australian cricket team got caught cheating in what you wouldn't imagine is a large match. Now, the weird thing is we got caught cheating and we lost the match.
See, that's more embarrassing.
Yeah, like by a mile. But it was in South Africa. Now, with the cricket ball, and this happens in baseball, you tamper with the side of the ball, it'll ruin the flight of the ball. It'll make it swing a little bit each.
They're called bowlers in cricket.
They put like Vaseline.
Yeah, they're called bowlers, right?
Pitchers, bowlers. It's a very different thing, but same concept.
So anyway, there was a cricket player who kept a small piece of sandpaper next to his testicle sac, and it's called a scrotum if you're a scientist. And what he did was he would pull out the bit of sandpaper and he'd rub the side of the ball. And this guy forgot that there was about literally 30 odd cameras on him in high definition. They caught him actually doing this. And so at the moment, I had to tell this story because I rang up my father and he was devastated. There's been a big problem because the Australian cricket team is a mess right now. And all the other... And because I come from a country that was colonised by convicts, it's very easy for countries such as the United Kingdom to look down on people like me. So the only time I've ever felt a racist prejudice against me in any way in my life was once I was hitting on a girl at a party when I was living in England, and that girl had a guy that sort of liked her, and he pulled her aside and said, "What, you going to go for this fucking convict?" And when I heard that, that was like, whoa. That was, and now I understand, because white guys don't get a lot of racism against us. So that was the first time I went, yeah, words can fucking hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah, fuck you. Call me a fucking...
Really taking that to heart.
No, but if you said it to me, it wouldn't matter. But a posh English person calling me a convict actually fucking hit me at the core a little bit.
Yeah.
And so what happened there was the British newspapers and all that stuff, they're like, of course the Australians are cheating. That's what they do. And it's like, fuck you, England. Didn't you fucking run the world and genocide a whole lot of cultures? Fuck you.
What they do.
So anyway, the English are being very pious about the whole thing. And then the South Africans, who don't have anything bad in their history, who are just sitting in South Africa like, we're have been good people for the longest time. You were bad up until the 90s. Shut the fuck up, South Africa. Anyway,
They're great now. Nothing bad happens there.
there's still some equality problems there.
Also,
Anyway,
by the way, their sports scandal involved a guy with no legs killing a woman.
Yeah, he murdered.
That was their sports scandal.
yeah, that's true. That's true. And we actually mentioned that. So this guy, Steve Smith, the captain of the Australian cricket team, he's been dragged over the coals for I'm talking a piece of sandpaper that is less than an inch by inch squared. Right? And he's being dragged over the coal. His life is completely ruined. And we made a little joke about it. The whole point that, as we say, there's people like Oscar Pistorius, there's fucking O.J. Simpson, there's a guy in Australia who fucking smashed a bottle into his fucking girlfriend's face. There's people who have Michael Vick, who has dogs fighting each other. And this guy's life's ruined over a small piece of sandpaper. Yeah. And so for Americans who are listening, this is the equivalent of maybe Pete Rose scandal.
Right.
The Pete Rose scandal.
You brought up the Pete Rose scandal because, and people shit all over Pete Rose. But here's the thing: he never got caught gambling on his own games. He was just a fucking gambling addict.
Yeah,
and you can't take away from the fact the guy was an amazing baseball player, phenomenal, top 10,
most hits
of all time, Right,
good looking
guy,
guy.
left out in the fucking cold.
Great haircut.
Yeah, but this guy's life's over. Steve Smith.
It's over though. You think
he's been suspended for a year, and I assume
he's a player. You said
he's the captain. No, he's the player and the captain.
So he plays.
He plays in the thing. Yeah, no coaches. He manages the team whilst on the field. It's a different thing. But anyway, so his life's over. So. Sorry to hear that, mate. Hope things turn around for you. Maybe you should take up pottery.
An Act 4 update, T5 Transit. That was last week. We talked about T5 Transit.
It wasn't in the script, but I said at the end of the show, follow T5 Transit.
Did you say it on the TV?
I did it on the show. I said I think we can all do better. Follow T5 Transit. My name's Jim Jefferies.
I did hear you say something extra, and I couldn't hear it because the audience. I mean, it'll come through and think, oh, great. So, JC, just a quick synopsis if you didn't know. Jim and I were flying back from London. We were on this train that takes us from the terminal to like baggage claim or the customer. And there was a thing, follow this train. So we talked about it, and since we've talked about it, we did an Act 4 where we said, hey, follow this train.
They've gone from 100 followers to...
They were at 131 originally. Now they're at 5,360 followers.
Oh my God! Please keep following them.
They took like a screenshot of their statistics, and it was like their traffic is up 11,000% on their
which isn't even possible.
Yeah. But
it's like when people tell you I'm going to put in 110% more effort.
They've taken to it though. In their bio now, at the end of it says hashtag horizontal elevator. That's in their bio now. So that was one of our jokes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've enjoyed the podcast. This podcast
What do you mean we're not done?
It ends the same way it always ends. Jim Jefferies needs to piss and stop talking about himself in the third person. Good night, Australia.
All right, well, let me do the wrap-up real quick.
Woo!
Okay. One more time, JC Currais.
Hey, that's
you
me.
Can be found at JC Stand Up on Twitter or at JC Comedian on Instagram. And your Conan comes out April 11th, Thursday?
No, it's April 12th, Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not what I said, but that's what I meant.
April 12th.
April 12th. You'll be on
JC
Conan,
Comedian.
so watch that night or go online and watch them.
Yeah.
I'm Forrest Shaw. At Forrest Shaw is my Twitter handle. Please go there and click on one of the links and watch Poor Decisions. It's jokes I recorded. I don't want to say special, but please go click on it. It is special. I'm special. I'm trying to... Maybe your mom can write something to me, Jack. Yeah. And then, as always, please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, guys. Bye.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
What he did was he would pull out the bit of sandpaper and he'd rub the side of the ball. And this guy forgot that there was about literally 30 odd cameras on him in high definition. They caught him actually doing this. And so at the moment, I had to tell this story because I rang up my father and he was devastated. there's been a big problem
Right.
because the Australian cricket team is a mess right now, and
like-
all the other and because I come from a country that was colonized by convicts, it's very easy for countries such as the United Kingdom to look down on people like me. So the only time I've ever felt a racist prejudice against me in any way in my life was once I was hitting on a girl at a party when I was living in England, and that girl had a guy that sort of liked her, and he pulled her aside and said, "What, you going to go for this fucking convict?" And when I heard that, that was like, whoa. That was, and now I understand, because white guys don't get a lot of racism against us. So that was the first time I went, yeah, words can fucking hurt. You know what I mean? Yeah, fuck you. Call me a fucking...
Really taking that to heart.
No, but if you said it to me, it wouldn't matter. But
of course.
a posh English person calling me a convict actually fucking hit me at the core a little bit.
Yeah.
And so what happened there was now, the British newspapers and all that stuff, they're like, of course the Australians are cheating. That's what they do. And it's like, fuck you, England. Didn't you fucking run the world and genocide a whole lot of cultures? Fuck you.
What they do.
Yeah, so anyway, so the English are being very pious about the whole thing. And then the South Africans, who don't have anything bad in their history, who are just sitting in South Africa like, we've been good people for the longest time. You were bad up until the 90s. Shut the fuck up, South Africa. Anyway.
They're great now? Nothing bad happens there?
There's still some equality problems there.
Also, by the way, their sports scandal involved a guy with no legs killing a woman.
Yeah, he murdered.
That was their sports scandal.
Yeah, that's true. And we actually mentioned that. So this guy, Steve Smith, the captain of the Australian cricket team, he's been dragged over the coals for I'm talking a piece of sandpaper that is less than an inch by inch squared. Right? And he's being dragged over the coal. His life is completely ruined. And we made a little joke about it. The whole point that, as we say, there's people like Oscar Pistorius, there's fucking O.J. Simpson, there's a guy in Australia who fucking smashed a bottle into his fucking girlfriend's face. There's people who have Michael Vick, who has dogs fighting each other. And this guy's life's ruined over a small piece of sandpaper. Yeah. And so for Americans who are listening, this is the equivalent of maybe Pete Rose scandal.
Right.
The Pete Rose scandal.
You brought up the Pete Rose scandal and people shit all over Pete Rose, but here's the thing: he never got caught gambling on his own games. He was just a fucking gambling addict.
Yeah,
and you can't take away from the fact the guy was an amazing baseball player, phenomenal, top 10,
most hits
of all time, Right,
good looking
guy,
still
left out in the fucking cold.
Great haircut.
Yeah, but this guy's life's over. Steve Smith.
It's over though. You think
he's been suspended for a year, and I assume
he's a player. You said
he's the captain. No, he's the player and the captain.
So he plays.
He plays in the thing. Yeah, no coaches. He manages the team whilst on the field. It's a different thing. But anyway, so his life's over. So. Sorry to hear that, mate. Hope things turn around for you. Maybe you should take up pottery.
An Act 4 update, T5 Transit. That was last week. We talked about T5 Transit.
It wasn't in the script, but I said at the end of the show, follow T5 Transit.
Did you say it on the TV?
I did it on the show. I said I think we can all do better. Follow T5 Transit. My name's Jim Jefferies.
I did hear you say something extra, and I couldn't hear it because the audience. I mean, it'll come through and think, oh, great. So, JC, just a quick synopsis if you didn't know. Jim and I were flying back from London. We were on this train that takes you from the terminal to like baggage claim or the customer. And there was a thing, follow this train. So we talked about it, and since we've talked about it, we did an Act 4 where we said, hey, follow this train.
They've gone from 100 followers to...
They were at 131 originally. Now they're at 5,360 followers.
Oh my God! Please keep following them.
They took like a screenshot of their statistics, and it was like their traffic is up 11,000% on their
which isn't even possible.
Yeah.
But it's fucking hilarious.
It's like when people tell you I'm going to put in 100% more effort.
They've taken to it though. In their bio now, at the end of it says hashtag horizontal elevator. That's in their bio now. So that was one of our jokes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I've enjoyed the podcast. This podcast
What do you mean we're not done?
It ends the same way it always ends. Jim Jefferies needs to piss and stop talking about himself in the third person. Good night, Australia.
All right, well, let me do the wrap-up real quick.
Woo!
All Okay. One more
best
time.
fucking
JC
outro.
Currais.
Hey, that's
You
me.
can be found at JC Stand Up on Twitter or
Hey.
at JC Comedian on Instagram. And your Conan comes out April
Yeah.
11th, Thursday?
No, it's April 12th, Thursday.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's not what I said, but that's what I meant.
April
that's it.
12th.
April
JC
12th. You'll be on
stand-up,
Conan.
JC
So
comedian.
watch that night or go online and watch them.
Yeah.
I'm Forrest Shaw. At Forrest Shaw is my Twitter handle. Please go there and click on one of the links and watch Poor Decisions. It's jokes I recorded. I don't want to say special, but please go click on it. It is special. I'm special. I'm trying to. Maybe your mom can write something to me, Jack.
Yeah.
And then, as always, please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, guys. Bye.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast.
Yeah.
That's not what I said, but that's what I meant.
April
that's
12th.
it. April
JC
12th. You'll be on
stand-up,
Conan,
JC
so
comedian.
watch that night or go online and watch them.
Yeah.
I'm Forrest Shaw. At Forrest Shaw is my Twitter handle. Please go there and click on one of the links and watch Poor Decisions. It's jokes I recorded. I don't want to say special, but please go click on it. It is special. I'm special. I'm trying to. Maybe your mom can write something to me, Jack.
Yeah.
And then, as always, please subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, guys. Bye.
This has been a Comedy Central podcast. This has been a Comedy Central podcast.